Like it bright. Give it a second. What up, you Bonnie? What up? We can get this popping. Can y'all hear me? Let a couple people log in. It's live. It's live. Minutes, everybody log in. We're gonna do this real simple one more time so we can be clear on some things. We have to do this over and over, man. Oh yeah, peace. Thank you for that donation, man. You hear me? Thank you for that donation, man. Nonsense, man. I'm gonna do this one more time for you. Clean your ears out, please, because I want y'all to really, really understand this. And after I'm done with this, inbox me, man, and I don't care what they portray. A liar is a liar, with a fez, without a fez on. I don't care about all that garbage. All that fake stuff, all that nonsense, don't even make sense. Like I don't believe people believe that the 1010 number is some trust fund. Like, why do more? Where do y'all get that from? Can somebody be clear with me? Because everybody keep asking me about some 1010. It ain't no trust fund set up for Moors. No. If you understand what a trust is and what a trustee, what that consists of, come on, man. That's why I say we must be educated on the nationality and the civil side the right way, so you won't be caught up in fraudulent concealment and somebody lying to you because they know that you haven't studied, and what they've done is premeditated lies to you. These characters and these individuals really sat at home and came up with a plan to defraud you. And it's all smoke and mirrors, I promise you. So you say they're looking for something instead of perfecting self and attracting what they want. And exactly, things. That's what a lot of individuals don't understand. We talk about vibrations. We want the same thing. So if we meditate and if we vibrate all on the same thing and on the same focus, man, we're able to move mountains. And that's what a lot of individuals don't understand. And so I say they're going to be doing the same thing next year. And watch where we be. Watch where our body be, with our temple and our school, and watch what we really be doing in the flesh. So when I listen to individuals, and they always talk about the private sector, and I say a lot of us not even educated. This is the thing about more science. If you qualified to teach more science, especially if you're through the temple, our charter, our bylaw, they say we're supposed to, all we're supposed to do is teach what? Our nationality and our divine creed. If you don't have any degrees in law and international law and civics, you have no business doing that. Or that's one of the 7 Kemetic principles, the law of attraction. That's in our science, connotated as Hermetic and Kabbalah. That's part of the Matheos, our Kemetic science. More science is connected. God and man is one. Everything else is just international, local, and federal law. We must understand international law. And a lot of people are not qualified to even not teach you to even defend themselves. And most people that's talking this hocus pocus stuff haven't even defended themselves. And the reason why brothers and sisters don't want to be students is because that's who they are. Most of the ones that don't want to be students, if you look at in life, they never graduated from nothing. Just because they put a fez on and all of a sudden you have Google University, a lot of people think they're scholars because you can Google University. Well, we take Wikipedia away from most of these Negroes. They have nothing because most people don't read it and comprehend. Most Negroes don't read books. They collect them like tennis shoes. Most Moors don't understand linguistic apartheid. Most Moors don't understand linguistics and etymology. And so it's deeper than just getting a dictionary thinking you're valid or thinking you can defend somebody in a court of law because you got some Black Laws dictionary or you got a medical book. Like you can read a medical dictionary and that makes you valid to perform heart surgery. Man, come on, Moors. So I'm gonna read a letter to y'all one more time, to where the only way to study law is to study real law. In the court of law, there's no excuse of not knowing the law in the court of law. You must understand all the color in the law and don't get caught up in color of the law. You must understand international, local, and federal and state law. You must understand that. You must understand all jurisdictions and all states and localities have their own bylaws. You must understand that driving with or without license is not a federal offense. You must stop letting people lie to you. So, once again, I'm gonna read a letter to y'all. It was in 2016. And this letter, when I say anything can be researched, I learned that our knowledge came from yours, more science. I learned that our knowledge came from yours, more science. I don't know what you mean, yours, more science, Hernandez, but a lot of things, a lot of questions, man, must be answered. And when we talk about misnomers, and when we talk about names that we put on us, like Mexican, Latino, those are misnomers. And when you start doing the history, you will see what it's all about. So when we understand more science is world history. So when a person say, oh, I'm Mexican, I'm Latino, and I'm Hispanic, no, you're not. That's a misnomer. And if you understand science, you're indigenous to the land. I didn't say Freemasonry. You said that. That's why I say when people come on here, man, we need to be educated on things instead of just opening our mouth and showing our hand. And it's no disrespect to you, Brother Hernandez, but I promise you, I delete people quick, and I'm gonna say that off top. Nowhere did I say Freemasonry. If you understand the science, I said nothing about no Freemasonry. So why the first thing would you come out your mouth and say Freemasonry when I said this is Kemetic science? And when I would, do you see my fez or any more fez defiled? This is not no Freemasonry. This is nothing secret. Freemasonry, that's European. That's why it's only 32 degrees. This 99 degrees. This ancient myth is in Mizraim. This 33 times 3. This ain't no European masonry or no westernized masonry. I want us to be clear on that. When I talk about clandestine and what clandestine really mean and what's the etymology of clandestine, courtism, and why individuals... Oops. Sorry about that, y'all. Hold on, my fault. Hold on. And why, excuse me. Little doohickey popped off.
This little doohickey popped off.
I got it. Thank you, Empress. And why Negro, Black, and Colored wear the fez in secrecy. And who is really Haram of beef. I told you the first thing is in more science is the last thing that a Moor is. I ain't say I'm taking you wrong, Noble. I said you say Freemasonry. I ain't take nothing. You say Freemasonry without a quotation mark or nothing. So when you say Freemasonry in science, you made a statement. You didn't put a question mark after it. You didn't put nothing. So on the internet, just like if we was in class, if it was 100 students in here and you just yell out the mouth Freemasonry, and then everybody turn around and say, what you mean?
You asking Freemasonry?
So when you say Freemasonry, I'm throwing it, what you mean, Hernandez, when you say Freemasonry? Because this is class. And when you type something, that means you speaking. So we speaking on something, having a particular topic, and then you type and say Freemasonry. And I say, what you mean Freemasonry? Because I'm not taking you wrong. You made a statement. So can you explain your statement? And then I'll proceed. Because you said Freemasonry. I didn't say Freemasonry. You said it. So can you explain?
I-10 West.
I'll wait. Let's learn. But you made the statement of Freemasonry, and I said, what I'm talking about is Freemasonry. Muslim is. You will know Freemasons, black, white, whatever the color, they're sons of Muslims. And you will know once they become shrine, the password, they start practicing Al-Islam, and they become practicing Muslims. So what are we talking about? No, I'm saying the teachers came from. No, that ain't Noble. I promise you. I'm gonna tell you what you just said, Noble. If we in class, you said I learned that our knowledge came from yours, more science, and then you said, Hernandez, Freemasonry, and then you said Freemasonry, Noble, and then you said no. I'm saying that the teachings came from Commit. Okay. Well, that's clear because you just said Freemasonry and left it at that. And I'm like, okay, well, what's Freemasonry? If somebody is son of a Muslim, who's the father? When we look up King Menakaru and the left foot forward, you see where the science come from. Even when I show you the ancient nobles, the Europeans, when they come up with their ancient right of nobles, and you look in the science, their stuff is copywriting in 1912, you see it's all stolen. Because you see that the ancient mystic nobles come from our prophet Noble Drew Ali in the 1800s. So everything is connotated. And then you see when the European went to Egypt, the Italian Europeans, and stole the science. That's why we don't wear the fez of secrecy. That's why my fez is not defiled. It's nothing secret with me. It's sacred. I teach the science. And every European Mason, Negro, black, and color they know what it is, and it ain't no disrespect when they bow down because they're sons of Muslims. When I talk about the DAR, when I talk about my empresses that was brainwashed when they joined them groups, Eastern Stars, and when you look at the European, no disrespect, they represent you, and you are the Eastern Star, and the white fez with the gold tassel represent you in the birth cycle. That's 9 to the 9 to the 9th power, and they buried our empresses, the Eastern Star. Easter is star. Maya, they buried you in the shallow grave, just like the European and the Westernized Freemasons buried Haram Abif in a shallow grave. Look at the tomb. Look at everything. It's symbology. We gotta know this. Oops. My fault, y'all. My doohickey fell. Let me put it up higher. So that's the science we gotta know. So we won't get caught up in not understanding.
Did you lock it?
Yeah, I locked the Empress. My Empress like, am I locking it? So we won't be confused where the science comes from. So you will understand what clandestine were. So we can have a clear understanding of the science. We can have a clear understanding of the science. Because if we know what Quran means, it means knowledge, order, rhythm, astrology, astronomy, nature. And then we talk about the zodiacs when people like to use catchphrases when they say what's above is below. And I say what's above is below. You must relay your body to what's above, and you must relay this earth plan to what's above. When we say the same thing on earth as it is in heaven, when we say every constellation have 3 deacons, we relay our physical body to what's above. That's science. And that's what I want us to understand. We don't give anyone our science. Man, I know European potentates or master masons, especially a lot of them that was professors. When I wore my fez every day on campus, when I was doing my dissertation, they bow down because they know where the science come from. We have these conversations. I done lectures with at the Philosophical Research Society with a whole bunch of Negro, Black, and European Masons. A lot of the brothers came out that grave, and they under our auspices now. Once I showed them the science, where the science come from, and what I showed them of what they did and how the science has been buried in a shallow grave, and we removed the veil of the science. So let's get into this. I want us to be clear when people lie to us about numbers and things. And I say the only reason why a person can lie to you is because they know you don't know. And a lot of them are not affiliated or initiated with a particular body that can fact check certain things from love. And if you want to base your understanding on the lie, that's on you. So I'm going to read something from Karen A. Yarborough. This is the Recorder of Deeds, Register of Torrens, Titles, Cook County, Illinois. I'd read this over and over and over. When you got these characters on YouTube talking about some 1010 numbers, some trust, and getting y'all up in copyright infringement, which you cannot do. That's against the law. Once the law is being enforced, you will see. A lot of people already locked up for this. So this is going to a couple sheets. I'm gonna show y'all the letter. When I be telling y'all, man, it's a thing called the Free Information Act. You can find out anything. That's why I be laughing. People like, man, that's garbage what a person talking about. So this goes to Sheikh Lionel L. and Sheikh Ismodo D. Love L. of the Moorish Science Temple of America. This is what I be telling y'all when people be lying, talk about some 1010 number and some trust. And I'm like, that's garbage, man. Don't let nobody get you caught up in these lies. Sheikh and Sheikh is Love L. In the past few days, the Cook County Record of Deeds, which is abbreviated to CCRD, has received several forms of email correspondence from you regarding concerns that you have involving the organization documents and other documents related to the Moorish Science Temple of America. And so the CCRD is writing back to answer these questions. And this is what they say in question 1. In her capacity as the Register of Torrens Titles, what is the full scope of the fiduciary duty owed to document 1010-5905 and the resulting entity, the Moorish Science Temple of America, as a body politic, named in said document? The response, Moors. After reading your question, I assume that you are asking what the recorder's duties and responsibilities are in relation to these documents. In this regard, the recorder has 2 specific duties and responsibilities, Moors. First, the recorder is responsible for recording documents that are entitled to be recorded. And second, the recorder has the responsibility of being custodian of all recorded documents. Document 1010-5905 is an affidavit of organization under the Religious Corporation Act, 805 ILCS 110 ET.SEQ. Under the Religious Corporation Act, there are specific requirements that need to be met in order for a document to be recorded pursuant to that act or that law. At that time, this document was presented to the CCRD and it met all the requirements and it was recorded. As a custodian for the documents and other recorded documents, unless specifically restricted by law, the documents are made available for purchase by the public. How? How the temple was set up. That's how. All this can be available by a small fee. In other words, if a customer requests to purchase a certified or non-certified copy of this document from the CCRD will provide such a copy to the customer if they pay the fee. Y'all ain't listening. The CCRD has no other duties and responsibilities relating to this particular document. In other words, the CCRD is simply a custodian of the records and make this available to the public for a fee. What are procedures for filing documents under the 805 ILCS Religious Corporation Act related to property, mortgages, notes? Here go the response. Real estate related documents such as property deeds, mortgage, or notes are not recorded under the Religious Corporations Act. For the recording requirements for real estate related documents, please see the recording statute 55 ILCS 5 ET.SEQ. What are the procedures for including the Moorish Science Temple of America to list the body politics on file with the Cook County Record of Deeds? Response: the CCRD does not maintain a list of body politics. With that said, as mentioned above, the CCRD accepts documents relating to the organization and corporation of religious entities under the Religious Corporation Act. The document that you are concerned with, document 1010-5905, has already been recorded by the CCRD. Isn't it true that in accordance to provisions made possible for body politics under Home Rule, that documentation and laws of the Moorish Science Temple of America as a body politic are applicable to the management of said trust? Watch this. The CCRD is unaware of what specific documentation and laws are applicable to the management of any trust maintained by or for the benefit of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I would like to note that the Religious Corporation Act states that trustees of religious corporations or organizations shall have the care, custody, and control of the real and personal property of that organization. See 805 ILCS 110-43. I'm giving y'all the law. The CCRD is not a trustee of any trust or trust assets being held by or for the benefit of the Moorish Science Temple of America. When Moore hit me up, it ain't no trust set up for Moors. I'm like, what, how? Were we some damn leprechauns? It ain't no trust set up, no. Who set it up? The prophet set it up. Do y'all know what trust is? Trust means monetary, tangible, or property. It ain't none. You gotta understand who you are. Has this office done any competent research to determine who are the current executive rulers of the Adapt Chamber of the Moorish Science Temple of America, sheiks with the power and duties similar to that of a trustee? Similar to that of a trustee. Y'all ain't listening. It is my understanding that the current sheiks of the Moorish Science Temple of America are reflected in recorded documents that amend document 1010-5905. If there were any changes to the trustees of this organization that are not reflected in these documents, the CCRD would not have been aware of it. Watch this. In this office, or is this office aware that only the founder, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, had authorization to issue 1010-5905? And such has been the case since 8/1/1929. Watch this. Although I am unclear of what you mean by issuing the document, but part of the recorder's duties include maintaining recorded documents and providing certified and non-certified copies of the recorded documents for sale to the public. Listen clearly. Is this office aware that the unauthorized issuance and collections of funds resulting from the issuance constitutes a breach of the registry fiduciary duty as custodians, criminal fraud, embezzlement, etc.? Listen clearly to the response. Your position is legally and factually incorrect. Please see the relevant statutory authority referenced above. In some of your other correspondence, you indicate that the CCRD has refused to file certain real estate and non-real estate related documents and index that the number, and index them under the trust 1010-5905. To be clear, document 1010-5905 is not a trust document. Did y'all hear what I just said? Did y'all hear? You should be done with anybody telling you this garbage. To be clear, document 1010-5905 is not a trust document. This document is simply an affidavit of organization under the Religious Corporation Act. And what that means is that the document serves as a record that the Moorish Science Temple of America is organized, incorporated as a religious corporation under the Religious Corporation Act, and the CCRD is not a trustee of any trust or trust assets maintained by or for the benefit of the Moorish Science Temple of America. You should be clear with that. You should be clear with that, y'all. You should be clear with that. The last little piece I'm going to give y'all, I want us to be clear, is what I talk about how Moors are confused and navigating. I did this before. I'm going to do it again. When an individual hit me up, talk about some UCC and some UCC1 stuff, I'm like, that's a fraud. Talk about, I want to deal with the private. Man, listen, you got to deal with perfecting yourself. If you want to deal with more science with me, if not, go somewhere else. You must become a student to learn. I told y'all, Moors confused on navigating. Just like they got the drug task force on the internet, they got this black sovereign citizen mess on the internet. And they got all these Negroes IDs when they talk that expatriation and some de facto government. All that language is antagonicized. And I done seen so many Negroes on the list, man, on the black sovereign list, and y'all think it's a joke. That black sovereign stuff is real. And I call them domestic terrorists. Those who are called white sovereign citizens. Moors who are under the banner. And those are not the teachings of our Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And y'all know it. So-called sovereign citizen paperwork. This so-called sovereign language. When Moors talk about this UCC stuff. This UCC crap. This uniform expatriate teachers. Garbage. All for all. Has affected the Moorish movement. Tell y'all how we can do things by law. It's only one way to do things. You must what? Repair. One nationality, many cultures. The laws, the Constitution protect us. We must do what the laws say. And then we worry about the next level. And it must be done as a people, not no individual. Our Prophet told us, if you want European sheiks, I will give them to you. What our Prophet was saying is that he knew that a lot of Moors was running to Europeans and all that stuff for acceptance and verification of this is a freedom of salvation. A lot of Moors had good intentions, but I tell y'all, they haven't been properly educated. A lot of them are criminals, getting y'all caught up in fraudulent concealment, trying to get a quick fix. Talking this European or this so-called sovereign groups. Y'all demonstrating that stuff and mixing those demonstrations with documents and information that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was bringing to us for salvation. And a lot of reasons, man, is because Moorish style is where the laws of freedom, the laws that protect our members, citizens, and the students, the full process of proclaiming your nationality, and the laws that give us the right to everything we need in order to build a nation and government in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, with privileges, immunities, and the protections, the laws of freedom involving the 4 proclamations of Abraham, 13th Amendment with 20 sections, not to be confused with the 13th Amendment with 2 sections. Most people know today. Also our Hebrew codes that pertains to the freedom as shown on Leviticus 20, understanding how the Moorish National Bureau statistics work, how it was set up by Gregor to speak to the military on the naturalization and the recording process for all Moorish Americans to come back lawfully into the constitutional fold in that union and correct our status, our religion, our race, our name, our birth certificate, and our jurisdiction. We're correcting something. We're not getting rid of nothing. If anybody tells you you're getting rid of something, where's your evidence to prove somebody? You lost. We must annex our Bay and our L. We got to understand what our Moorish Quran was talking about. Our literature, our one-on-one questionnaires, our authority, our charter, and our warning, our dispensation, and our divine constitution and bylaws. We got to understand what it's really saying. We got to understand our degrees in Act 6. That's why I say it's a lot of Moorish temples that's not set up properly. They're not properly registered. And that's why they don't have any saying power to do anything political. Some deal with the divine and not teaching the national side, and along with these egos. That's why a lot of people are doing their own thing. Well, I'm bringing it back. I'm giving you a class. You got a lot of these factious groups, all these individuals knowing damn well they lying to you. You got to understand constitutional law and understand exactly what our founder, Noble Drew Ali, intended and taught, so that our movement no longer stay in turmoil and people have a solid foundation on how to save themselves with the protection of a real body, a real temple, and a real Moorish government, and not by taking a proper look at the national side, what it's really about, that local and that state and that federal. I'm telling you, the laws that be, they looking at you, man. So let me clear up this confusion. We're gonna deal with those who wish to call themselves sovereign citizens, and through the study and the law of true sovereign. So when you use that language, you a fraud. The only true creditor is the Western Hemisphere, is our prophet. And those who Ali demonstrated this by how he registered our movement, how he recorded it for public record, and the language of our charter, our Holy Quran, and our 101 questionnaire, and our divine constitution and bylaws. No one individual can be a sovereign, which is then represented by the head of the nation and government. So our body politic, we the people, and not do nothing but get them jammed up. It would seem like legal genre, and you will be looked at in black. That's why you got to, man, study the language of our prophet Noble Drew Ali. That's the key. Our prophet was an adept, an angel, and an Ali. It would only make sense that our prophet had foreseen what was to come and understood the language of law. So you got a lot of misguided Moors and individuals who use the words like Native American, Native Indian, American Indian, Amerindian, Aboriginal, First People, all that colorable crap on their documentation to prove who they are. And you're not dealing with specifics, the history on who you really are. They don't really understand the language and the information of what our prophet 14, 30, and 32 in our 101 questionnaires. Research that. This is what I want y'all to be clear on, Moors. That UCC one, that UCC, that Uniform Commercial Code, is a trap. It's a trap. And by studying the timeline, Moors, you can see that the UCC was formed to counteract or to counteract what our prophet have done. And this, you can go to a rest stop, and which is to take hold of the land, the resources, and we have the mandate to prove it, Moors. The UCC was birthed in what? 1492. I mean, I'm sorry, in 1942. I'm sorry, Moors. 1942. And crystallized in 1952. It's fashioned after our ancient laws and customs of trade and commerce that the Moors was the originator of. But you got to understand, we don't have to use it in today for our salvation. Also, Moors, using the UCC and the UCC1 filing to secure your straw man is committing a fraud. I explained that earlier, who the true critter is, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And when Moors and those unnaturalized, when you look up, and you all love to use Black Laws Dictionary, look in the 9th edition for unnatural, and then come under the temple and the Moorish government, and they will be able to protect under the umbrella of the creditor. So when we're dealing with the nations or the United Nations declarations, what Moors have to ask themselves, do the United Nations have a charter? Absolutely. And then you got to ask yourself, does the Moorish Science Temple have a charter? Absolutely. Which language supersedes the other? And when you understand the science, you understand that our charter, the temple and charter, is higher than the United Nations Charter. So why are Moors using the declarations under the United Nations Charter? It will be clear, Moors, we do not, a lot of them don't know or understand the national side of our movement or what our prophet brought. Moors, y'all got to understand the international law. Charters are seen as what? Treaties. And in that situation, Moors, the Moorish Science Temple charter in its language, it supersedes every treaty. So as we can see with our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he closed up every loophole. And when he said, paraphrasing, I have the government, I just need the people. You got to understand, and that it need to be clear. Moors just have to get in line under the protections. It's a lot of misguided Moors and individuals. Watch this.
The gas station is a bus truck stop.
I don't know. Probably going forward. But it's a lot of misguided Moors and individuals who wish to expatriate. Watch, I tell you, this is garbage true. I mean, this is garbage too, y'all. Watch this. They want to expatriate themselves, and they only think that that means that they are leaving from the jurisdiction of the so-called de facto jurisdiction. But however, Moors, expatriation means this. Get your favorite Black Laws dictionary that Moors like to read, and get the 4th edition. Get the revised page 685. Listen, expatriation, the voluntary act of abandoning one's country and becoming a citizen or subject of another. The voluntary renunciation or abandonment of nationality and allegiance. So not only is one leaving the foreign jurisdiction, they are leaving all jurisdictions. They are leaving all jurisdictions, laws of the land, basically naked, politically and nationality-wise. So if you listen to what I'm telling y'all, Moors, we got to deal with the law. We got to. Man, y'all got to understand this, man. Our Prophet Noble Drew Ali always stated, and with study is also included, when we come back into the union and no longer be in rebellion, as we highlighted by one of the 4 proclamations of Abraham Lincoln, called the Proclamation of Amnesty and the Reconstruction. Right? There's no way, and we ain't no way against this said government. We're not. We are part and parcel of this said government. Don't y'all know that? The proclamations of Abraham Lincoln, the 13th Amendment with 20 sections in law, and adhering to what our founder, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, has stated in his warnings in Act 5 of our divine constitution and bylaws. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work, or in their homes, or in the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cars at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequences. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. That's our divine warning by our Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Like when I said, I ain't here to be mixed up with nobody telling a whole bunch of lies. I don't care if somebody call himself a Grand Sheik. You ain't no Grand Sheik of me. And if you teach a lie, especially if you say you part of the temple, you a lie. If Moors want to be a part of a school and a temple, we're right here. Become members and students. I'll send you an email of our enrollment package and our syllabus. That's it. That's the teachings. Maybe on the ride back, I might talk to y'all and give y'all how the temple was set up, the holy nation state of the Moorish Science Temple. When I tell y'all how the temple was set up, and a lot of people don't know the words of what our prophet was using, and don't know the words of duality, like state, and in law and business, words mean different things. So we're gonna come back and do that teaching, I say about maybe 2 o'clock. Maybe. I think we might do that on our ride back. Islam Moors.